Welcome to Elements of Plot. We're going to go over the elements of plot. I'm going to show you with the story of Cinderella, Boy's Request, obviously, and just kind of talk through this pattern that every fiction story carries. So this will help you really in any fiction text to kind of understand how all the moving parts work together to create a story. So let's start out with the overview of the elements. So first we've got the exposition. So in the exposition, that's where you're introduced to the setting, the characters. You kind of just get a little bit of background information so you know what's going on. All right, next we've got the conflict. This is the main problem. Every story has a conflict. Every episode of Paw Patrol has a conflict. Every story has a conflict because without it, boring. You have to have some kind of problem that your characters have to overcome in order to make it a story worth reading. Okay? So, you got your conflict here, and up at the top you've got your climax. So, between that is that rising action. So these are the things that happen to build to that climax. Okay? The climax, this is the moment of the highest emotion and interest, the turning point, the whoa kind of moment. Okay? The climax of your story. It's big. Falling action. This is where the character finds an end to his or her issues. Things are kind of getting resolved. Things are winding down. And then the resolution is where the conclusion of the story happens. It's either a happy ending, as in Cinderella, or a tragic ending could happen as well. Okay? So your protagonist versus your antagonist. Sometimes an easy way I remember is that the hero versus the zero. So in another video, we'll talk about the 4 types of conflict, but your conflict could be between characters. So like in Cinderella, it's Cinderella versus her stepfamily. It could be against society. It could be against nature. Maybe there's a tornado. Maybe there's some kind of natural disaster. Or it could be a character versus self. It could be a problem that they're struggling with or something that they're trying to figure out inside in their head and their heart. Okay. The theme, that would be the lesson learned. What's the message? What did the author want us to learn from reading his or her story? All right. Let's take it to the Cinderella story. So if you're not familiar with the Cinderella story, why aren't you familiar with the Cinderella story? I'm kidding. I will link a video for you to watch, a quick one, so you can have an overview of this story. So in Cinderella, the exposition, you know that it's long ago. You meet Cinderella, her stepmother, her stepsisters. The conflict is that Cinderella is treated unfairly by her stepmother and her stepsisters. Okay, so she's being treated very bad. Mean ladies. Okay. The rising action which leads up to the climax is that they get these invitations to a royal ball, and Cinderella would like to go just like anybody else, but her stepfamily makes it nearly impossible for her to attend by doing a series of mean and cruel things. Next, the fairy godmother shows up and fixes everything, bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, so that Cinderella can go to the ball. And in fact, she looks so nice that her stepfamily doesn't even recognize her. Come on. All right, and then next, Cinderella dances with the prince all night long. They're instantly in love. And however, she has to leave at midnight. So when all of a sudden it's midnight, she has to make a dash for it and leaves behind a glass slipper. All right, so the climax of this story is, so that prince is going around, he's trying to figure out who the owner of the glass slipper is, because he's fallen deeply in love in those few hours that they danced together. Clearly never spoke or exchanged names, but he goes around and finds to all the houses, and he's at Cinderella's house, and the stepsisters try it on, doesn't fit their feet. Depending on what story you read, sometimes he'll trip and the glass slipper breaks, but Cinderella has the other one in her pocket. But nonetheless, the slipper fits, and that is the climax of the story. The one where the heavens part and the sun shines down, and it's the moment, okay? The big moment. The slipper fits. They found true love. All right, following action, Cinderella and the Prince marry. Obviously, following that brief encounter, they're ready for marriage. And the resolution is they live happily ever after. So again, the protagonist versus the antagonist is Cinderella versus her stepfamily. And the theme is good things happen to people with a good heart. And the theme could be multiple things. There's not just one theme that's set in stone, but as long as you can prove the theme that you've chosen, then other things could work. Okay? So this is Elements of Plot. Let me know if you have any questions or need anything clarified. Cinderella and I thank you for being a part of this video, and we hope you have a great day.